joining me at 360 Handmade Bags, and welcome to my sewing studio. Hi, I'm Teresa, and today the tutorial that we're going to be doing is I'm revisiting one of the very first tutorials I made back in July of 2025 this year. And it is the Rayna Sling from Lynn's Handmade. Now, the first one I made, it was done at 110% or 115%. So this one I'm doing at the regular size. And it is cute. It's small, but boy, can you put a lot in it. Look at this. Look at how cute this is with the side wings and the D-ring connectors. So I made this bag with the tan Mora faux leather from EMMALINE bags, and the lining inside and on all the pockets is from Sam Fabric Creation, and it's a very, very thin nylon. So this has this is really cute. Now, I'll go over these edges for after, but anyhow, so it has a zipper pocket in the front that will fit my Samsung S25 Ultra. But inside, now the pattern calls for a mesh pocket or a slip pocket on the inside. I didn't do any slip pocket on the inside, but look at the space that you have inside. So what I have room for in here, this is my tall wallet. There's already a tutorial on that, and this tall wallet is from Sonar. So as you can see, like, mine's pretty thick. I've got a lot of coinage in the zipper pocket, lots of loonies and toonies in my zipper pocket, because I was just at a Christmas craft market. I have all my cards and all my cash, and there's still tons of room in this tall wallet. Anyhow, what I love about it is it's nice and slim, a really nice slim profile. And then what I have in here, now this is the My Mini Tote pattern from Sawdust and Stitches, Ellie's pattern that she just came out with. I made it without the little handle, so it looks like a little mini tote, because what I use with this in here and this exterior, and I'll link these patterns as well, but this exterior is from Sam Fabric Creation, and it's a waterproof nylon with a PVC backing, and then on the inside it's a very thin nylon, just like the nylon on the bag, from Sam Fabric. But I keep my Tylenol, I keep my lip balm, I keep my antihistamine, which I need when I go to vendor shows, craft markets, because there's always perfumes and Scentsy and handmade soaps, and I have and the scents bother me. And then I have a boomstick as well, so that if I wind up with a sneezing fit, it's wintergreen. It's perfect. So in this bag, there's lots of room. There's my Made in Canada tag as well. It's a bound bag, but there's lots of room. I deliberately didn't use any interfacing or foam stabilizer. I wanted this bag to be slouchy, so that if you did have a lot of stuff that you wanted to put in here, you know, like this has got a bit of a bulge to it, then you're going to have that room, and you're going to have the flexibility of the bag to form over it. So that's the main zipper compartment, and I did put the slip pocket on the interior. However, on the bags that I make, I like putting a slip pocket on the back of it, so that I can put my phone. So my phone fits perfectly, and it's at the largest Samsung, and it fits perfectly in there. It could be slightly taller, but this works perfectly. That is easy for me to be wearing this bag, grab my phone and go, and then slip it in, and it will be up against my bag if I need it. Now, one of the things is that with my seams, because I haven't trained the seams, I just, you know, to push out and be a little crisper looking. And that has always been an issue with me. So I was in a bag making Facebook group, I can't remember which one, and somebody said, how do they get rid of these kind of puckery looking seams? And so there were lots of suggestions, and somebody said, you know, there's the hair blower and all of that, which I've tried, but the hair blower the heat only lasts a certain amount of time. So somebody suggested taking your tea towels or whatever you're going to use, run them for a while in a hot dryer, and then take them out. And as soon as you take them out of the dryer, stuff your bag really, really good to push out these seams, and the heat from the inside will help to form the seam. So I'm going to do that after I finish this video, and I'm going to see how this works. But okay, so back to the bag. The Rayna Sling, it has these beautiful wings and this unique D-ring connector for your strap. Now, I didn't make the strap like she has in the pattern. She has a really, really nice look strap with a fancy faux leather edges for your D-ring connector or your swivel clips. I just made the strap like I usually do out of webbing. And anyhow, so get your pattern, the Rayna Sling from Lynn's Handmade. Figure out what fabrics and colors you're going to use, and join me in this tutorial to make this amazing, cute bag. And surprisingly, it has lots of room, because I do have more room inside to stuff it with things. All right, guys, we will see you shortly when we make this bag. Alrighty, so for today's tutorial with the Rayna Sling by Lynn's Handmade, I just want to go over a few things before we actually start sewing. So she has a certain way in the pattern that she makes a nice decorative end for her strap. And I've just gone ahead and made my strap with 1.5-inch webbing that I got from Amazon. And I just made my strap the way I usually make it. You know, just with a tri-glide and 2 swivel clips. And the hardware that I'm using is antique brass. The zipper tape that I'm using is this tan color with antique brass teeth, because the fabric that we're using is the faux leather, Mora faux leather from EMMALINE bags. And it is the tan, and then the lining is from Sam Fabric Creation, and it's just a really, really thin nylon, which will make a nice lining. So that's our exterior and interior, and the thread that I'm using is just dark brown, sorry, excuse me, heavy duty thread from Walmart. It's Scooterman. Now, I've already gone ahead and started my D-ring snap connectors, or D-ring connectors, and she's got a pattern piece in the pattern. Sorry. And I started off with a large rectangle, 2 pieces for each D-ring connector, and I glued them together with my Beacons Fabri-Tac glue. This is the best. It sets so fast so that you can glue things, let it dry maybe 5 minutes, and get rolling. So I've already made my tab connectors, D-ring connectors. I've already punched the holes, and I've already started edge painting. So what I did with the edge painting was I took my black permanent Sharpie marker and I went all around the edge, because with the Mora faux leather, you really should be edge painting it. It's just too rough around the edges. First, I took a lighter around and burned off all the fuzzies. And then I took my black Sharpie permanent marker. And the reason why I glued the pieces together with a lot of glue was to make sure that my edges were together, so that they weren't opened up and created a wider gap. So I've gone over this with 2 coats of the base coat, Giardini from EMMALINE bags, base coat for edge painting. Now, I have never been the greatest edge painter, and I've tried different methods, and this is what I started with. It's just your little, it's supposed to follow along as you roll it along the edge of your seam. It never seemed to work. And then I tried using a paintbrush, and I've tried a few different things. Okay, so I found this on Amazon. It's this cute little brass square, and it has 2 rollers that come with it. One has a diamond pattern, and it just sits in here. You roll the edge of your fabric, you put your whatever you're using for edge painting, you put in here. So I put 20 drops of the Giardini base coat in here, and it rolls, and you can roll back and forth, and it puts an even coat on it without bubbles. I was finding that this got held up even though I cleaned it up after every time. And this little gizmo, it does come with another roller that has that same edge as this one. But I went with the diamond this time, and I really like this. You don't have to put a lot of your edge coating paint or glue or whatever in here, and it rolls. And then you just wash it out with soap and water after. So that was really, really handy. Alrighty, so we're going to start working on the back of the bag first. I'm probably going out of order from what's in the pattern, and you're going to need your main body exterior for the back and one of the linings, and then put these other ones aside, the lining pieces aside. And then in the pattern, she has for the interior a mesh pocket that you can sew in to put things inside. I'm going to create a back slip pocket so that I can put my phone in the back, and my phone will probably be a bit too big, but it'll still be okay. So I have cut an extra set of the front bottom of the bag and of the pattern piece, and I've cut, because it says just cut one main, one lining, I've cut 2 main and 2 linings. So I've cut an extra set of the exterior and the lining, and we're going to create the slip pocket. And I'll save these other 2, and I'm doing an exterior slip pocket, so because I like being able to stick my phone in right away without having to open up the bag. So we're just going to clip the right sides together of our exterior and our main fabric, and make sure your centers are marked. Clip your pieces together. My clips out here. All right, and then we're just going to sew this together, not quite 1/4 of an inch. I don't need it to be 1/4 of an inch seam allowance because I still want it as tall as possible on the back in order for my phone, which is the Samsung S25 Ultra, to fit in there. So I'm going to just do a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And like I said, this part is not in the pattern, the back slip pocket, but I'm doing one for my bag. And I've been doing a lot of Christmas craft markets, and I've been watching all the people carrying bags, and this is the type of size, the Rayna, that people are carrying. And they're just carrying little bags because I think younger people, and maybe people my age who are very techie, also are able to, they have all their debit cards and all their ID and all of that in their phones or their watches. And then they don't, maybe they don't carry a wallet, or they just carry the minimal amount of cards. So, and they don't need a big bag. All right, so I've sewn it together at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, and I'm flipping it over, and I'm matching my centers on the bottom, and I'm matching all of my raw edges together. Making sure everything matches, and then we're going to just top stitch the top of that. Oops. And I'm just going to top stitch it at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. All right, so I'm just going to top stitch along the top at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. my stitch length up to 3, which is what I usually use. So the back is quite easy to do at this point in time, just putting these pieces together. And then I'm going to, and I've marked my centers on all of my pieces, and I'm going to take the put the wrong sides together of the lining and of the back exterior, making sure that if you have a directional print, that you have it going the right way. And then I'm just going to flip it. Just going to put a bit of tape here just to keep it, just to tack it down so it doesn't move. Just a couple of pieces just to tack it down, the lining, because it is slippery. This Rayna is really, really cute. I made one of my first tutorials was the Rayna, but I printed the pattern out at, I think, 110%, something like that, 110 or 115%, I can't remember. But this is the regular size Rayna, so it'll be a lot smaller. And like I said, the Christmas markets that I've been going to, this is the size that everybody is carrying. So I'm just putting the wrong sides together, just making sure that everything lines up. And with the double-sided tape, it'll help stick it on. And then I'm just going to line up my centers. I'm just putting the exterior slip pocket that we just top stitched and made, and I'm just lining up the centers on the bottom. And lining up all the raw edges, and then we're just going to baste all this together at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And I'm just making sure that all my edges match and meet. Okay, so there's our little slip pocket so far, and I'm just going to baste around the edges at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. So on the inside of this bag, there won't be any slip pocket. There'll be the room that you need if you need to carry a wallet, like a Purse Pal from Lynn's, or the tall wallet is great from Sonar because it's slim and it doesn't take up a lot of bulk. All right, so there we have the slip pocket, and I know my phone is big and it just fits in, but keeping in mind when I do my seam allowance, now I do all my seam allowances at 1/4 of an inch, so there'll be a 1/2 inch shorter on the edges and a 1/4 of an inch on the bottom, but my phone will still fit in, and by the time everything's all sewn together, it won't fall out, and when I wear it, it'll be up against my body. All right. Alrighty, so now we're going to be working on the side wings, which are what the D-ring tabs will fit onto here. And so you need your side wing piece, and you'll have 4 pieces, and they will be mirrored. So you will have 2 right and 2 left, just like this, so that they look like, you know, wings together. So what we're going to do is take the right sides, put the right sides together, and clip. Make sure your raw edges meet. And same for the other one. And then what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be stitching these 3 edges at, I do 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. All right, so there are our wings sewn together. And I'm just going to take my pinking shears and just kind of trim around those edges to help the curves lay better. And then cut those corners off without cutting your stitches. Okay. And then we turn them, making sure that you use, if you need to, you have a pokey tool to help poke out your corners. I kind of just take the edge of my knitting needle, my old broken knitting needle, and just kind of run it along the seams just to help push the seams out better. Okay. And take the edges and clip them together. Because we will be top stitching them at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way around the raw edges, and then top stitching 1/4 of an inch in. Okay, so we're going to stitch all around the outer edge at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, which will also baste this shut. And then I'm going to come in 1/4 of an inch from the edge and do a second row of stitching. Alrighty, so there we have our left and right wing. And if you have any little ends of the fabric sticking out at that bottom corner, then just trim it off. And if any of your edges aren't matching, just trim off the excess. The Mora does have a bit of a stretch to it. And just burn off your little threadies at the end. All right, there is our right and left wing. Okay, so now we're going to work on the front of our bag. And this is where you might want to put your bag tag, which is where I'm going to put mine. But first you need your front bottom and your front top pieces, both the exterior piece and the lining piece. And we're going to, before we do the bag tag, and then we're going to construct our zipper on there. So I'm going to take my exterior fabric, and we're not putting our zipper pull on. You're going to take the shortest one of the zippers that the measurements in the pattern. You're going to put the right sides together with the right side of the exterior bottom. And I've marked my centers, and I have double-sided tape here to stick it on. And create a zipper sandwich, and then I'm going to put double-sided tape across the top of the zipper tape to put the lining side on. And then the lining goes face down, side down with the right side of the exterior. And we're going to stitch that on to the zipper sandwich. And then we're going to flip it and flip it together and top stitch. All right, so when we flip it, make sure that we're going to line up. We have to line up all of our raw edges. So starting at the bottom, line up your centers and line up your raw edges and clip them all together. Okay, just make sure everything's lined up. And then when we get it all clipped together, then we will top stitch along the zipper. We're not basting anything at this point in time. In the pattern, she does, she puts everything together and then bastes it all together. I basted the back together already, but I wanted that slip pocket on. And the slip pocket that I made, I forgot to mention, you can also put this on the inside if you prefer it on the inside than on the back. Okay, so I've got the bottom part and all clipped together, the raw edges, and I'm just going to top stitch along the zipper tape. All right, and then get your double-sided tape out, run it along the other top of the zipper. Oh, I already had double-sided tape on that piece. Okay, doesn't matter. And then take your top part, and you've got double-sided tape along this bottom, or I put it on the top of the zipper, which now we have double tape, and just line it up with that raw edge of the bottom of the zipper tape. Flip it over and then put another row of double-sided tape at the top there of the along the zipper tape. And then take your lining and put the right sides together so you have lining up. And you put the right sides together with your lining that's already facing up. Okay, and then we're going to sew along here as well. And then flip it and top stitch. Okay, and again, we're going to line up our raw edges, line up the centers, and clip all along the raw edges. And then we're going to stitch along the top here along our zipper tape and top stitch. All right, so now this is where we're going to put our zipper pull on. So decide which way you want your zipper to go and then feed it with whatever direction. So I'm going to have my zipper closing to the left. So I'm going to feed it on from the right side. All right, and there it is. And now I'm just going to trim up these extra ends of the zipper and take a lighter to it. This is such a cute little bag. Okay. Just to melt the ends of the zipper tape, just so it doesn't fray, because this zipper tape does seem to want to fray quite a bit. Alrighty, now I'm going to put my bag tag on, and usually I center them, but I'm going to put it down at the bottom right. I'm going to be different today. So I'm just putting it on the front. I won't be putting it through this lining of the pocket. Get my washer. So I'm just going to kind of figure out this is where I'm going to put it. Make sure it's in line with my top edge along my zipper. And that it's level. And then I'll just make my slit marks. And double-sided or Gorilla tape or duct tape I need. I always use that to reinforce the fabric that I'm using. It's really hard to pull off. Okay, so I'm just going to clip this. And I'm just going to, I've already made my slit marks for my washer, so I know where the prongs are going to go, and I'm just going to slide that under here and just affix it to the exterior Mora, kind of centered as best as I can see. Okay, And I'll make my slip marks. And the duct tape helps to protect the fabric from the underneath. Put the washer on. And I want to make sure that it's straight. Well, that looks pretty good. Eyeballing it. And then I just take the other piece of duct tape and stick it over top of these prongs so that if there's any kind of rubbing or friction from the fabric on the inside, that it doesn't fray it. And the duct tape does protect the fabric from the prongs and from the washer. All right, this is where we are right at the moment. Alrighty, so what we're going to need are the last two interior lining pieces of the main body. And you're going to need the front zipper pocket that we've just created, and it's still clipped together. You're going to need the back pocket that we created, the exterior slip pocket that's not in the pattern, and then our two wings. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip the front zipper pocket lining side up. We're going to take our two pieces of lining, make sure that if it's directional print, that that they're both right side up. And I'm just going to put some double-sided tape on one piece because this lining is really slippery and I want these two pieces to stick together. And it doesn't like sticking to this lining very much. Because I want, okay, that's right side up, that's right side up. And I just want to put the two pieces wrong side together, matching the centers and matching the edges. So I want them to be wrong sides together because we're going to put the lining side against here so that when you open up your zipper pocket, you see the right side of the lining, and then that's going to be the lining on the interior of your pocket. So we're just going to clip them at the centers. Make sure that your lining and your exterior pieces all match the same size with the pattern, because sometimes your zipper tape might be a little slightly different in size. And then reclip everything. And then we're going to baste all this together as one piece. Okay, now before we go any further, I like to put my Made in Canada label on the inside. And I like it so that when you open the bag, you're going to see it. So I'm just going to tuck it in right here, just below the zipper. And then we are just going to baste all of this together. At an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Just going to go over those zipper teeth a couple of times just to make sure that they have a little bit more security. Okay, so now when we open up our zipper pocket, we can see the right side of our lining. And that's the inside of our bag, and my bag tag has been sewn in. Now we're going to take the back piece. Make sure you have your centers top and bottom marked. Make sure your centers on the side are marked. And you're going to now take your wings and make sure you mark your centers on your wings by taking the corners, corner to corner, and marking a notch out for where your centers are. So they're going to go this way, pinned inside, matching the centers. And make sure that you have your right side showing this way so that when the bag is open, you see that right side on the front of the bag. If you have a preference to what you want for your right side. And then we're just going to clip those on, and we have already basted. Okay, line up my centers. And now we're just going to, now in the pattern she has you just clip everything together and then just do one basting around. We already basted this on because we made the slip pocket. So I'm just going to baste these edges on right now for the wings. All right, so there's our back, and when we get the front gusset made, there's the front of the bag. I'll be back. Alrighty, so now we're going to need our zipper panel. You have 2 exterior and 2 lining, and then we're going to need the longest zipper, and at some point our zipper pull to put on when this is constructed. Okay, so take your double-sided tape, lay it along the top edge of one of your exterior pieces. You have your centers marked on all of your pieces, including on your zipper. And we create another zipper pocket, a zipper sandwich. Take your zipper and put that right sides together, so that's teeth down against the right side of your exterior fabric. All right, now double-sided tape again along the top edge of your zipper tape. And then right sides together on your matching your centers and with your lining. Okay, and then we're just going to sew all that together and then flip it and top stitch. I should really say flip it, clip it, and top stitch. Okay, so we definitely want to make sure that our raw edges match, centers match as well. And make sure that it's all clipped and lined up, your raw edges. This is the tedious part, is clipping everything. Okay. And then just make sure it's all even. And then we will top stitch along here. Actually, we are going to baste this around. We'll just baste the raw edges together at 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so we have the one side done, and we will just repeat for the next side, or the other side. So double-sided tape on the right side of your exterior. And take your zipper and flip it over so that your lining side of the zipper side, the gusset that we just made, is showing, and you're lining up your raw edges. And then we'll put the lining on as well. Now, if you have directional lining like I do, you'll have to make sure that you have it going the way you want it. Not that you're going to see this because it's on the top side of the bag and nobody's going to be really looking at that. But okay, so I have my elbows up going that way. That's the way I want them. And then your lining goes right side down against the zipper, and it's right sides against your right sides. And then sew it like sew this on, and then we're going to flip it, clip it, and top stitch. There's my new slogan saying, flip it, clip it, and top stitch. Okay, beautiful. Okay, line up your centers, clip it. Clip all the raw edges together. This lining likes to roll and bulge. It's because it's so much thinner than the exterior faux leather. Okay, so we're going to top stitch and baste all around the raw edges at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. All right, so there is our zipper gusset. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the zipper pull on at this point. In the pattern, there is a measurement about how long this zipper facing is supposed to be. And mine's pretty much that measurement. So I'm not trimming anything down. And I'm just going to put my zipper pull on so that when it is on the bag, and I'm only using one zipper pull because it's just a small little bag, then I'm going to make sure that it closes to the left. Okay, now we're going to take our bottom gusset, and the ideal thing is that I'm not trimming down my zippers. They're only a little bit too big. I'm going to leave them there so that there's no chance of them fraying inside. I'm also going to just take the lighter to the edges to melt them to make sure that to help them to stop fraying. But I'm going to leave them in, and I'm just going to sew them in. They're not too big. So we're going to take your gusset piece. Now, your gusset should match your zipper. If it's way bigger when you center it, then trim this off. Trim this excess off. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to sew it. I'm going to center it here, even though I do have about 1/8 of an inch excess. And then I'm just going to merge my edges to the gusset and do it that way. So we're just going to clip this, put double-sided tape on one end of your zipper facing. Center your gusset, bottom gusset on there. And then flip it over to the lining side up, and then do the same. Everything sticks to me. It's hard to believe that Christmas 2025 is next week, and I just want to take this moment to wish everybody all the best for your holiday season with whatever, you know, whatever you do with your family, and also a very happy new year. I'm hoping to have another tutorial or two done before New Year's of 2026. Can you believe it? I don't know where the time has gone. All right, then you're going to take the short edge of your lining and center it up on right sides together of the lining. Make sure these guys are matching. And I'm just going to clip just to be on the safe side, and then we're going to stitch across there. And then I'm going to flip it and top stitch it. I'll go over those zipper teeth, back stitch over the zipper teeth, even though we're going to have top stitching across them too. Okay, and then we're just going to put the raw edges, or the wrong edges, together and just top stitch along here. And then we're going to repeat for the other side. So on this edge of the zipper facing, we're going to put double-sided tape across the top edge. And then take your exterior, other raw edge of your exterior bottom gusset and center that in between your zipper gusset. And then flip it over and put double-sided tape here again along the lining side. Yeah, this lining doesn't like double-sided tape on it. And then take your lining side. Now you're going to have this buckling and it's going to pull, so you definitely want to clip this. And then line up your raw edges on your ends here. And then we're going to stitch across. Okay, and now we're just going to turn it and top stitch. And we've just created a circle. All right, now where I have the slight overhang here and here on both sides, I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to trim that off at a slight angle just to kind of merge it in with this edge of the zipper. Like, it's not a super huge amount, so I didn't think that it needed any super amount of cutting. And then it just kind of blends it in for when we go to bind. And she has she has a certain way of doing the binding in the pattern. And I'm going to do it the way I always do it. The way she does it is wonderful. It's really good. So, but I'm just going to do this the way that I'm used to doing. So I'm just going to take these edges that are still not secure, and I'm just going to baste them together. I should have basted them together when I top stitched that last end. I was going to do the binding just like she does it, but I figure I'm just going to do it the way I'm familiar with. Just making sure that the raw edges are together when you baste these guys together. There it is on the other side. Okay, so what we're going to do is, this is the front. I'm going to do the front first, or actually, I'll do the front first. Excuse me. And I just want to make sure I have my zipper going the right way when it's on. Okay, so that, oh, and before I forget, we have our top and bottom centers marked here and underneath. And so what we need to do is line up our two seams and make sure the top and the bottom on the zipper have our centers marked, and also on this bottom side, on the gusset side. And then take the two and line them up, like so. Take the bottom of the gusset and line it up with the mark that we made on our zipper, and then fold it over so that we have just a little bit from the seam, and we're going to fold it this way and make a center mark, and the same on the other side, and then on the underside as well. This would make a really great bag in denim as well. Okay, so this is the front. And I want it to go like this. Okay, I'm just going to clip where I'm going to line up the front. And I want to put, what I like to do is when I've got a bag with curves and I'm going to be binding it, I do like to put double-sided tape all around the perimeter. It just makes it easier getting around curves, and your gussets staying on. Even though we're still going to clip, this just helps hold it in place. And do it on the back as well. if you haven't done so already, if you have these little overhangs from when you sewed your little wings on, now's the time to make sure that they're trimmed off so that they don't interfere with your binding. They're not very big. Okay, now let's just take the double-sided tape off the front we're working with. Turn your lining or your gusset inside out. And then this is the side I want that's going to be attached to the front, because I want to make sure that the zipper pulls to the left, just like this front zipper, this will pull to the left as well. And I do clip it even though I do have the double-sided tape. So line up your straight edges at the top. And then match your centers on the bottom. And line those up and clip along the straight edge. And then on the sides, you have your centers marked. You mark the center on the zipper lining. I line that up with, I don't think I marked, I did mark them. Just have to find my mark, there it is, and just line that up with your side mark. Now you may have to snip into your gusset to make sure that these curves, that it will ease around these curves. So I'm just clipping that straight edge first, and then I'll flip it over to the other side and then line that up as well. Actually, this side looks like it's going to go in quite nicely around that curve. Not quite. All right, so I just have to snip into the gusset. It's got to come a bit over. So we snip into the gusset, little 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch little snips to help ease that on around those curves. And I find it's best to flip it so that your flat part of your panel is there, and kind of tuck it in like this to press it down into the gusset, and that helps to ease it into the facing or into the gussets. And then I'm going to snip on this side. Okay, and then the same thing, I just kind of push that in and just kind of line up the corner and help that get eased around with the gusset. These clips are pretty tiny. Okay, all on and clipped on, and I'm now going to just sew at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance to baste it in. Alrighty, so I have switched my thread out to black, and it's Tech 70, and it's Wax Opti-Pop 100% polyester, because of the fact that my binding is black grosgrain ribbon, and of course the lining is black as well. So make sure that after you finish basting, that if there's any overhang, that you trim it off to make it even for when we go to bind. And like I said, my binding is not what she has in the pattern. This is how I bind, although the way she has it in the pattern is really good. Okay, so we're going to start at the top because nobody looks at the top for any binding. I'm just going to burn off some of these longer threads. You can see. So I'm going to clip it so that it's folded over, and then I'll sew it at my 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So I'm just going to fold over this raw edge. Just want to kind of melted a little bit. Just fold that over and put it on the top here. And then I'm just going to clip the binding all the way around. And then when I get to the end, give that a quick little lighter burn to it. Then I just fold the raw edge under. And then just clip it on. Okay. All right, we have the binding all clipped on, and then I'm just going to sew it around at 1/4 inch seam allowance. All right, now we just take our back piece and we put the back piece on now. Doing exactly what we just did. Okay, line up the centers on the top. And along the bottom. Now this side is going to be thicker because you have your wings to sew in. Also, the slip pocket that we added to the back. Okay, now it's all clipped and I'm just going to sew this all around, baste it all around at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so we have it basted on, and now we're just going to clip our binding on, which I didn't cut out. Okay, I'm banging all my stuff around here. All right, and the same as we did for the front piece. We're going to start at the top, fold that under, and we're just going to clip this all around. Folding it in half over top of the raw edge. Okay, now I will stitch it on at an 1/8 of an, or 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. All right, let's see if we caught everything on the other side. The moment of truth on this side. Looks good. Oh, this is pretty cute. And I deliberately didn't do any interfacing or foam or stabilizer because I wanted it to be a squishy bag so that there's some flexibility if somebody crams their bag full of stuff, then there's flexibility for the sides to move out as well. Okay, so those got caught in pretty good. All right, the seams aren't pulled out all the way, but there it is. That's pretty cute. Let's just check my phone to see how that sits in there. That just fits in there perfectly, nice and snug, so it's not going to fall out. That's awesome. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our D-ring connectors and now our D-rings, and I have 1-inch D-rings here. I'm going to put the D-rings onto our, make sure you've got the right side going the right way, because on the underside I have where I tied off my threads. And you're going to line them up on this flat edge so that they're nicely lined up. Make sure you have your D-ring in here, and make sure that these two rounded edges on either side are matching. Line that up the way, at the right angle that you want it. And you've already got your holes punched. So then all you have to do is to take a pen or your whatever you're going to mark it with. Make sure your D-ring's pulled up. Make sure everything's lined up. And then just stick your pen in that hole so you know where you're going to make your marks and where your rivets are going to go. And mine makes it right in between that stitching. And then do it for the other side as well. Make sure I've got the right side. Make sure your D-ring is pulled tight and taut, and slide that on. Make sure that these did line up the right way. Yep. Okay, and we'll just, now I'm going to use, because I haven't used it for a while, instead of dragging out my big hole punch for my rivets, I'm going to use my Japanese hole punch. And all it does is you push down and it pushes in and comes back up. And it does make a really good hole. So I'm just going to put it right where my dots are. Now this, you might have to do it a couple of times. Just pump it. There we go. Nice hole. Perfect. And what's great about this is, say you have to do a rivet hole way inside your bag and you can't get your hand rotary punch in there, this is perfect. Go through. Nope, didn't go through. Got to clean out my bit. There we go. Okay. Just put my rivets in. So hopefully I have small enough. Okay. And we'll pop the rivets on. Lining up the holes. This is so cute. I really like the smaller size of the Rayna. Very cute. That's one. Okay, and we just take our punch, set the rivets. I don't think it's set very well. Okay, there it is. This is really cute. Okay, let's put the strap on. And it didn't take long to do either. Like really, it didn't take long. This is really cute. Okay, put the strap on. Isn't that sweet? Look at that. A zipper pocket. Lots of room, and your phone can still fit in there. You might have to work it in if it's a big phone. Lots of room for your phone. And lots of room inside. Lots of room inside for such a little bag. This is really cute. And then of course your slip pocket on the back, which will fit my phone, which I'm very happy about. That is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Now you could do the slip pocket on the back, and you could do a slip pocket inside as well if you wanted to, or you could even make a zipper pocket on the inside. Okay, so you've seen it. Isn't this the cutest bag? Now, like I said, I didn't do the fancy straps that she did, or the fancy adjustable strap that she did. I just made the strap the way I usually make it, and that's fine too. But look at this. So if I put this on with the adjustable strap, and you can wear it as a bum bag as well. It's all twisted. I don't know how I do that. I make the strap properly. Okay. So there, if you want to wear, because I see everybody wearing them like this, and this bag is small enough to wear just like this. You know, it's really a cute, I could even wear it here, and I have enough going on up front as it is. And, or, you know, wear it as a shoulder, a sling bag, a shoulder bag, or even at the back. You could wear it at the back. And then you could wear it as a bum bag. A hipster bum bag. You know, lots of opportunity of how to wear this bag. Really, really cute. I I actually kind of like this size. So there it is. This is, let me just shorten my strap. This is the Rayna Sling at 100%. So this is the regular size of the Rayna Sling from Lynn's Handmade. So get your pattern, guys, and sew along with this tutorial with me. This is such a cute bag. I'm surprised at how much room that it does have in it, and it's just so cute. So anyhow, thank you so much for watching this tutorial and sewing along with me. And if you're a subscriber, thanks for coming back. And if you're new to my channel, click on the, well, thanks for being here if you're new to my channel. And click on the red subscribe button that's on the bottom right of your screen and join along with me. I have a playlist in YouTube called 360 Handmade Bags that all my videos get uploaded to. And you can spend your Christmas holidays and New Year's binge watching 360 handmade bag tutorials. I watched the Rayna Sling. I followed, you know, when I followed along the Rayna Sling tutorial that I did, it was the first, one of the first tutorials that I did. And I look at how my videotaping skills have way improved since I first did that tutorial, my editing, making thumbnails for the front of the beginning of the thing. Yeah, I didn't know how to edit. I was so new to the YouTube at the time, and I apologize to everybody for my first videos. They're different than now, but you know what? It's a learning experience. I've been doing this since July 7th of 2025. We're now almost at Christmas of 2025. So, and actually it's the 19th of December 2025 that I'm videotaping this. Anyhow, thanks for being here. If you feel like buying me a coffee, there's a link in the description box. No pressure. It's just there to help sustain me while I make these bags for you guys to enjoy and to sew along. Alrighty, so take care, and we will see you at the next tutorial. And get this pattern if you don't have it already, the Rayna Sling from Lynn's Handmade. Take care, guys, and we'll see you at the next tutorial.